Okay, so I'm joined by two wonderful people showcasing their wonderful game. So do you want to introduce yourselves, your team, your game?
So, my name is James, and
my name is James. We are
Not
both programmers.
we are both programmers, so we're the Jameses of the team, and our team name is Octoghost Studio, and this is our game, Ifrit.
Cool. Well, I will get started then. So obviously, initially you kind of load in, you have doors that you can access, and we have a mirror that we can redirect some light through, so it's a light puzzle, and then we have, obviously still can't get through this door, but now we can do this. It's crazy. Oh, if I actually grab the mirror, that would be a good start. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting mechanic, obviously kind of playing with the idea of being able to kind of move things through time. So how did you kind of come up with this?
So it kind of evolved quite quickly, but the very original idea was a heist game that's non-linear, so it kind of plays like an Ocean's film. So you go to a point and then it flashbacks to where you set up that bit, and then you can set it up in the gameplay and it goes back. But then we just thought, if you're controlling everything the whole time, then why don't you just make it time travel instead? So you can be doing the setup as you're doing it, so it's less segmented. And then we had a couple of ideas to do with magic, so we thought, oh, we'll do something like that. And yeah, it's a whole smorgasbord of different ideas that we've kind of put together. And then we went with the Islamic Golden Age for our the time period we're going in, although this is a separate world based on, just so that we don't, overstep. But yeah, there's quite a few things that went into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting kind of. This is going to be one of those games where I actually have to think. So now it's going to be difficult to speak and think.
Yeah, we have a good mix of people who would come over and test it, and we get about 50% of them come with friends, and then they talk, and then they don't manage to solve the puzzles because they can't concentrate on it.
Yeah.
And then the other ones will just be completely silent the whole way through.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and not do that.
Yeah. I know, it's as much as I like to talk about it, it's nice to see people just kind of enjoying it as it is and not needing.
Yeah. I will do my best to seem like I have at least some capacity for puzzle solving.
To be honest, you're actually doing really well compared to most people we see. This is supposed to be the tutorial. We have a lot of people who sort of struggle to grasp the mechanic at first and how the two sort of different times communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So you'll find that there are certain elements of the game, say certain doors or maybe certain characters that are there during the daytime, or they're there during the nighttime, but they're not there during the other time period. And then it's sort of thinking about, well, how does one affect the other?
Yeah, and you can see obviously there, when you switch view, your character disappears because obviously he's not going to loiter on the wall all day. Yeah,
so the levels that we've got in our build at the moment are all based on a bathhouse, but the kind of general location is a massive school, so it's kind of like a research institute kind of school. So this is the bathhouse of it, and then in future levels we want to go to other places. But you don't really have guards in the bath area of a bathhouse, so they're all on their break. This is their day off, so they wouldn't really stay around during night, which is why they're not there. This is one of the puzzles that had quite a lot of slowdown with people playing it. Yeah. Although the kind of assumption that we get quite a lot is that you're stuck in there because the door that you come through can't be opened again. But then it's kind of, once they figure out that there's a mirror in one room, lever in the other room, that's when it kind of clicks. But until they've seen both of those and they've kind of clocked what they are, then they think they're stuck.
It's the age-old thing with any kind of puzzle game is you have to kind of actually explore the space to see what you're playing with before you just try and solve the puzzle.
Yeah, we had a massive thing where right at the start of the game you had like the little blurb and then the controls. And what we kept finding was that people would do the first puzzle and then immediately forget that time travel was a thing, and we had to keep reminding them. So I've kind of whittled it down so I can say like a sentence or two to just remind people. If you're stuck, the answer is usually time travel.
Yeah. It's really nice lighting and stuff here. So in terms of art direction, obviously it's quite kind of simple but beautifully kind of
Yeah.
rendered out.
Yeah, so the bathhouse originally came from us not having an animator, so we needed to kind of fudge a bit of the animation with preset sites like Mixamo. But then we kind of started putting it in and went, actually, this looks really good.
Yeah.
We don't really need to be hiding things with it. So, you know, just make it look really nice. Another thing that was, we started in Unity. We're on a master team, but none of us had touched Unreal. And we had had about 2.5 months for full development. So we just said, okay, we'll prototype in Unity because we can all actually develop in it. And then we'll all swap onto Unreal and start learning how that works to do the final game. So this isn't the final game, but this is in Unreal. We've had to, I think about 1.5 months, we've been working with Unreal from learning it to getting here. So we're really proud of how far we've managed to get it.
Yeah,
so far.
like you've definitely come a long way with this, clearly. It feels quite polished and nice. Oh, I understand now. When you start to think about it, I could have just done that and reset it.
We found through playtesting and actually at EXPO as well, we found that this is usually the area that a lot of people start to slow down significantly. So there are other areas when they start to first understand how the time travel mechanic works and how you try to use the objects during the day and night. But they get to this area and it's sort of as if all that prior knowledge has gone blank.
Yeah.
And you kind of, as people spend longer sort of stuck in this room, they sort of start to forget what they've managed to do before. And so it's sort of like a slow process of reminding them, hey, you can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a lot of people that forget that they can go into a room if the door's open.
Yes.
Because obviously we've got the Nazar eyes, the little blue things that you've got. They're the things that are shutting the door. So if there's not one on the door, either it's open permanently or you're just at the wrong time for it to be closed. But a lot of people start walking into a room and then they just go, okay, the puzzle's in this room, when actually you need the mirror from the last one to shine through it like you've got here.
Yeah.
But this part of the level is kind of like the application of what you've learned so far is what we found. Because we have a lot of people will go really quickly, they'll pick it up pretty much instantly and just fly through the entire thing, and then they'll get to here and then everyone else will catch up to them because they're stuck trying to think about it.
Oh, that's going to be...
And this is a kind of a reminder of like certain elements are there during the day and they're not there during the night, so you have to kind of rethink how you were going to approach that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this will be easy. This is just replicating the thing.
So some of the puzzles are just as simple as, oh, we can reflect it at daytime and we can reflect it at nighttime, but this one's a case of you can't actually do that.
Yeah.
But you may have to find another way of actually doing that kind of process.
I just want to steal that.
We have found, it was something that we kept in mind, but we didn't do intentionally, that there are actually several solutions. So there's obviously the one that we designed it to, or we have a designer doing all the levels for the puzzle sections, and she was doing a lot of work to get like one specific solution. But unless you're using a bug to solve it, we don't really want to take away any of the other solutions people find.
Because it feels like.
That's when they start mumbling to themselves.
Yeah,
That's when you know
it's like,
you've got
oh
a good puzzle.
Now I actually have to think.
You can take a relax in the bath, just, let it clear your mind.
Just chill. See, this is the nice thing. That's why you set your puzzle games in a bathhouse, pro strats.
We're very, we're very fortunate to have some artists who are like really talented, and it's helped bring together the entire sort of environment.
Yeah, and it is stunning. Like, they've done a very, very good job with this. I wanted Loki shout out how much I appreciate just chilling in a bathhouse with full helmet on. Nothing.
Yeah.
Strong. It's a strong aesthetic.
Yeah, that's more of a time constraint thing that we don't really want to be modelling faces, but it is actually kind of fun.
Yeah, no, it is. It's cutesy.
Yeah. That guy in the bath, he isn't dead. He's floating. People think he's dead. He's not. He's fine.
He's just got a very, I think you made a really quick bobbin sort of script just to have him go up and down. So that it looked like he was just lounging and just letting the water take him.
Yeah.
We were thinking of how to fix it, but the only way I can think of to add some more motion is to have him spinning, but that doesn't help because he's still just dead, but also spinning.
Yeah. I appreciate the kind of bird. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just the same sort of lighting. I was going to
so-
bring this up earlier, but I wanted to find a spot where you could really kind of see the different patterns.
For me, looking at this kind of room and looking at the central room as well at night time actually like shows it off the best for me. I really prefer like the blue colours. In some areas like this one, it actually looks quite dark as well, but you can sort of get sort of a satisfaction from seeing the patterns on the upper part of the room.
Yeah, they almost look like kind of sapphires or something, like gemstones, like illuminating it. It's very pretty.
Yeah, so that's kind of a mix of the restriction of the module and the kind of inspiration we've got for the themes. So module's quite short, so we wanted to do like modular stuff, so it's a lot quicker to, once you've made the art, to actually get it into the engine and build levels out of it. But the Islamic Golden Age, they had a lot of restrictions on what they could do in terms of architecture. So statues of people were generally not allowed. So they had a lot of like geometric architecture, which is why you get like these big pillars and repeating patterns and all these beautiful things, is because that was the part that they could be creative with. So we wanted to take it to our architecture, and that's kind of come through with the light, which kind of went with the motif of our first set of puzzles being light-based.
Yeah. So this is definitely, you can see the absolute like limit of my cognitive ability.
I will say you are very close. You just sort of have to approach something slightly differently.
I'm just wondering about
The amount of time I spent on booth yesterday with people who had the solution and just weren't looking in the right place to actually just do it. It's fun.
Because I need to have that powered, but I don't know. Can I see it from here? Maybe sneaky about it? I don't think I can. Oh. Because it does look like I could reach that. And then I could do that. And then I can do that. And then we can walk through and pretend like I didn't just spend 800 years in a room going, how does light work? Oh.
So what you did actually do was like James said earlier, that wasn't actually the intended solution.
Oh, is it not?
But it was a nice solution. I think, James, it was one of the earlier playthroughs you actually found that's the way you did it, and we've had it quite a few times recently where people have done it that way. But the intended solution was to have you bounce the light off mirrors a bit more, instead of sending the light directly to the eyes. And I think we found that in a lot of play testing, is that's one element that people tend to forget, is that they forget they can bounce the light beams off multiple mirrors. It doesn't have to be just the one bounce straight to the eye.
Yeah, it was, I remember it was the first time I played that bit of the level, because it used to be that all of the different puzzles were in separate levels, and then we put them into this big one. But it was right at the beginning, I found that solution to it, and then Lily, the designer who designed the levels, shouted at me a bit, and then we left it in because it's a valid solution. It's just not intended.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's one of those things where you give people a toolkit and let them have a play, and so it's very cool. It's very pretty. I mean, if I was to say, is there anything that you wish you could have done differently? Anything that you would have changed now that you've kind of gone through and kind of hit this point of being able to kind of demo it at EXPO? Is there anything that you wish,
I wish I had more time.
I mean, do you want to carry this game on, take it forward?
Yeah, we've got, we're on Launchpad. We got in just after the thing, so we are technically in the Masters booth on the EXPO, but we are with Launchpad, and we want to go through publishers, or crowdfunding. We need to talk way more about it. But
I think as a team, we're really happy with what we've got and the direction we're going. And playtesting has been really positive. Like, a lot of the feedback we're getting is really positive. I think there's just like a load of minor little kinks that we want to iron out. I think one of the major things that we've got at the moment is the fact that you can the mirrors, when you're holding them, don't have any collision, so you could just soft lock yourself by putting it through walls.
I did find a solution. I just figured it out yesterday, so I haven't had time to test it. But I do think I have a way around that now.
Excellent.
But essentially, it's just like loads of little things that we kind of just missed because of the short frame of time that we had to develop it. But I think as we go forward, those solutions will start to reveal themselves, and we'll find like better ways of solving some of the problems we have.
Yeah. But like I said, this game has legs. It definitely does, and you should take it forward.
Yeah.
We've been asking people some very serious and difficult questions. So I'm going to ask this one to you now. I'm going to ask you a different one than what we've asked some of the other teams. But if you had to describe your game as a single color, what color would it be?
Gold.
Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I was struggling with that one. I think gold's a good one. I was trying to think of like a blend between sort of, because the daytime looks more orange, the nighttime looks kind of sort of navy or blue, and what a blend between those were. But I don't think that's a very attractive color.
That was where I started, but we've got such beautiful lighting in it. And just went, it needs to be something metallic.
Yeah.
And obviously gold would be a pretty big motif of the Islamic Golden Age.
Yeah.
So gold.
It's in the name.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. No.
Gold because we're winners.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
But no. Is there anything else that you wanted me to showcase or kind of take a look at?
There's not really much more to showcase, I don't think.
Not really.
We've got
I think
everything in.
It'd be nice to sort of just maybe show some of the rooms and just like the comparison of. So if you just press R, not R, Y to reset level. It's just like, say for instance, rooms like the first room you go into, the comparison between night and day is just a huge difference. And it's like, it's as if it's a brand new environment, even though it's the same sort of architecture. Like again, we're really fortunate. The artists, Frost, Sophie and Jamie, I think Frost mainly worked on the lighting and did the light passes, but they've all done such an excellent job of really sort of bringing out the architecture,
and it's
planning how we want the colours to look, that kind of thing. I think Jamie said that a huge inspiration was, I can't remember his name, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Man.
Hirohiko Araki.
Yeah. So we wanted bold, exaggerated colours to really bring out the environment, and the lighting just complements it. Yeah.
Any other inspirations that you wanna highlight?
Yeah, there was a lot of fashion, but it's based on Golden Age. That's like our biggest thing. Obviously, it's based on the Islamic Golden Age. We want to do as much as we can with it. So that's where the architecture's come from. That's where the colours have come from, although we're trying to embolden them a bit more. That's where even the towel's colour was based on a noble's outfit that we found. There's so much of it just baked in as much as we can. It's beautiful, but we did have to scope back a bit because there were the original intention, which we'll be going through when we get to Launchpad, when we get after this into Launchpad and stuff, is we want to do stealth sections as well. Not in the kind of fast-paced stuff, but a lot slower. You have time to think about it, almost like another kind of puzzle. But because it's meant to be that you're going in to steal something, you kind of do puzzles to get to that point, then you steal the thing, and then you have to sneak past all the people you've alerted.
You have to get out
to get back. And then you do that for the different levels.
It's very cool, and there's definitely legs here as a kind of, if you had one piece of advice to pass forward to future generations of young developers, budding young little developers, from your experience of working on this, is there any key takeaway points or kind of any kind of one thing that you would say, you really should be doing this, or my advice is X?
Yeah, I have one. I'll give you time to think. So, like I said, we started in Unity, went into Unreal. I did the undergraduate as well, so I've been here 4 years, and I had 2 years in college also doing game dev. And the whole time I was going through doing Unity and just going, I really need to learn Unreal at some point. But it was, Unreal is, when you start with Unity, Unreal seems like such a different thing. Like it seems a lot more professional. And to a point, it is very different. But like I said with this, mechanically we had this pretty much finished with bugs, obviously, that we had to fix in about 2 weeks, and that's including learning the engine. So you just need to, if there's something that you've needed to do for a while or you wanted to do for a while, and you just think it's a bit too much, just do it anyway. It usually works out. Especially while you're in uni, because you can always just back out of it if it doesn't work.
That's the nice thing, and I think people often think, oh no, but it has to be really, it's like, it's okay. You're here now, the risks are so minimal. You might get a bad grade, but the learning experience is very valuable, and as you say, it's not like you're going to bankrupt your company. You're not you're students in, with your student kind of studios, and obviously, you could take this forward, and you guys are going to take this forward, and I wish you the best of luck with that. But
It also
You know.
definitely helps that you're surrounded by other students with the same set of mind. But like, yeah, to sort of like back up to what James said, is like mechanically and how the level is laid out, what we've got in Unity and what we've got in Unreal is basically the same thing. But the way we would go about doing those things are actually very slightly different. There's like different ways to set up these components. There's different ways to write out the scripts. There's different ways to like block out the level, that kind of thing. And I think another thing that's definitely a really good piece of advice, and we get told it constantly anyway, but it's play testing is essential, especially with a game like this. Like with puzzle games, we play tested really early, thankfully, with our Unity block out, and people still really enjoyed it, even though it didn't quite look like this. It was just a bunch of cubes. But we got play testing in early, and it really helped like establish, were we on the right track? Are the puzzles the right level of difficulty? Were people actually enjoying it? Were people understanding how to use the time travel? And thankfully we did that really early. It helped us like iron out, well, actually people were maybe struggling with this element. We need to probably push this area more. We need to reinforce this more.
Yeah.
So definitely, as much as it gets said time and time again, and it is hard work, play test your games, and it helps you sort of create a more refined, enjoyable experience.
Yeah, a ton of our kind of help with it, or things that we've put in as a result of this playtesting, is there wasn't a tutorial initially, because we would give people a couple of sentences and they'd figure it out. And then we went, actually, these are all GA students. They all know how to play games. And we're not going specifically for people who play games. We want people who don't necessarily play them, might have been introduced, but we want the narrative hook on it, because it is meant to be a narrative game. We don't have the sound in yet, but we do want those subtitles to be voiced. So we had our narrative designer Arthur was kind of putting in little hints and how things work through the subtitles. So right at the beginning, he tells you that those eyes, I believe the hint is they cannot sense what they cannot see, or something like that. I can't remember the specific wording. Just to kind of give the hint that you need to hit the eye with a light beam so it can't see you, and things like that. Yeah, it's been very interesting with having playtesting so early, is because I'll start on something like that's already gone through 4 iterations before I've even done the mechanic.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Yeah, no.
I got a few of my friends where I asked them politely, friends that I know through societies here at the university, through other courses, that kind of thing. And I asked them, who weren't particularly gamers and had never really played games before, I did ask them to come and play. And it was a sort of like an assisted play test where these were people who had never used a mouse and keyboard and didn't understand that you could press WASD and move the mouse to look around. So I sort of helped them navigate it, but I left the actual solving of the puzzles to them, and I let them figure it out themselves and how they approached it, and they still picked up really quickly, and they said that they really enjoyed it and that it was really nice to look around at the environment and what they were trying to solve. So they still, even on the feedback form, they still sort of replied saying, yeah, we really enjoyed this, like we would really be interested in seeing more of this. And like we said, it's just people who hadn't really played games before. These weren't GA students we got. These are some of my poor friends who I've tried to get them to play games many times, and eventually succeeded.
Get
your parents to play it.
It's
my mum. I'm holding off on getting my mum to play it because it's a puzzle game, so they can only play test once and they know the answers. But I want it to be in a more finished state because I know she'll be absolute rubbish and she'll love it.
So if you're watching at home, James's mum, he's saying you're rubbish. You got to prove him wrong. No. But yeah, I don't think I have any other kind of real kind of questions. I guess the main things now are, for people that want to play it, obviously they can play down in the expo floor, but if they want to play it on their own home PCs, how can they find this? How can they find you guys?
Well, thankfully, the Games Academy Expo is obviously pushing the page with all of the students' games on, and our game is involved in that collection on the itch.io page. We've found that all you need to do is actually search Ifrit on itch.io, and I think our game actually comes up as one of the first results. So it's really easy to find. But yeah, at the moment that's the main way to play it, is find it through the itch.io page. You can find a link to that on the passports that are being handed out at the expo as well.
Cool.
So yeah, it is quite easy to find, and at the moment we are regularly uploading like most recent builds to the itch.io for people to just download.
Cool.
And ideally in a year and a half, 2 years on Steam.
Yeah. No, very
Hopefully.
cool. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, like I say, best of luck. And it does have some legs, so just make it really good and big and awesome, and it'll be fun.
We
Easy.
plan to.
Yeah. But no, so thank you both for
Thank you
stopping
for playing
to join
it.
Yeah. No, it's been my absolute pleasure to play it.
Yeah, it did really well as well. Like
Yeah.
it's really nice to see people just grasp it and run with it. And then even though there's sort of like a bit of a struggle at the end, like it's really nice to see that even though you've grasped it, you still sort of, there's still that challenge.
Yeah, it's not super easy.
We were talking about having a speedrun timer, but since we decided against it, we'll say you won.
Ta-da! But yeah,
I don't know, I think I could do it quicker. I don't know why, but it might be because I helped make it. But
it's fine. But yeah, no, thank you both so much for coming on up. Are there any other socials or anything else that you want to plug? Discord groups or anything?
I don't think
not
we're
at the
public yet.
moment.
Okay,
no,
that's
not
fine.
at the
We're
moment.
keeping that close.
That's to come soon.
Okay, well-
we have plans for that.
Cool. At some point, you will make that known to people. Do you have a Twitter or anything that people can follow if they want to follow along the development?
That's
Again,
again
we
something
do
we're
have-
Okay.
we're gonna push.
You can go on. There's nothing there yet, but you
It's
can.
something we're going to push at a later date. We
Cool.
want to be in a more comfortable position to be able to do regular updates
Cool.
before we
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
No, absolutely perfect. Well, like I say, thank you both for being here. Thank you for showcasing your game, or for letting me showcase it.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having us. It's been nice.